Hey, I'm Aaron Gamble, and welcome to this installment of the Hot Seat Sports Talk, Season 7, Episode 11, 711. And we got a good one for you today. Jennifer Hammond from Fox 2 Detroit Sports is joining the show, so I'm going to stop talking. Opening credits, let's get going.
My father always would have a tape recorder and a microphone set up in front of us, and I would just pick up the mic and start talking. And there's actually an audio clip of me at a very young age, probably somewhere in the 5 to 7 year old range, where I picked up the microphone and said, "Hello, sports fans." And the rest, as they say, is history. And I just always loved, a little bit of the performing, but I just loved sports. Back in the day when I was growing up, there was the ABC's, I think it was ABC's Wide World of Sports. Yes. And, the opening video montage, showed, it said the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. And I think it's that powerful message of sports, the stories. It's not just the wins and losses and the teams, it's the people and everything that's involved that really drew me toward it. So at a very short answer, long story short, at a very young age, I knew I wanted to be in sports, and I saw Phyllis George doing it on the NFL Today in the 70s, and I thought I want to do that. All right. So it's always been my dream, and I'm so very lucky that, I kept pushing and pursuing. Yeah.
So now this stings a little bit, but why did you choose Western Michigan for broadcasting? Because me and your son made the right choice by coming to CMU.
Be careful now, Aaron. It's interesting because originally I wanted to go out to the University of Arizona, and I was accepted there. And I wasn't really digging in deep. I mean, if in, complete honesty, if I did want to go to a really top broadcasting school, Ohio University, Michigan State, Central Michigan, are all programs that have really accredited and focused broadcast programs. But I just, I wanted to go out west. My sister had gone there for school. I loved the desert. And when my mom found this out, she said, "You're not going any further west than Kalamazoo." She didn't want me to go out there because my sister left for college and never came back again. She still lives in Arizona to this day. And so I just, sight unseen, my mom said, Western Michigan's a really nice place. You'll love the city. And first time I ever went there was for my orientation. I'm going under so if you second, don't panic. Great for me, because my freshman year I got a job at the sports information department. And I learned so much there. I covered, the football team. I covered gymnastics. I covered women's volleyball. I covered men's basketball. I covered whatever I could, and would send out, little reports and stories to local radio stations. And I also got a job at a radio station in Kalamazoo as a Cubs and Bears and Kalamazoo College board op. And so I just really had great experiences that helped me through college.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm getting those experiences as well right now. And,
it's the most important thing, I feel, in this field and in many fields. You really have to be hands-on and you have to get the work.
Yeah. And, I feel bad for you. Obviously, you covered a lot of losing teams at Western during your time, probably, compared to what we have at Central. But
just slinging mud.
Hey, the victory cannon's ours. It's back home where it belongs.
Yeah, I will say. And Riley and I were together at that game. I don't know if he showed you the picture. We took a photo on the field with Western Tim Lester, and Riley was in his full Central gear. And Coach Lester just said, "Get on the other side of her." It was great, though. It's a great photo.
So now we've seen, local sportscasters leave for bigger markets, bigger spotlights like ESPN. Would you consider that, or is your life now in Metro Detroit?
Oh, I was asked that a long time ago. I mean, I've been in broadcasting in Detroit since 1994. And I took a little diversion after college back to Chicago and worked at CLTV. And I was just anchoring sports, sitting on a desk, and I wanted to get out and report. So I kind of took a career step backwards in many people's eyes. I took less money, and I went back to radio at WDFN in 1994 so that I could get that experience, like hands-on, on the street, in the locker room, interviewing players, covering games, traveling. And I loved it, and I don't regret it for 1 minute. And while I was doing that, I also had some offers. I was doing some sideline for the Fox network, and then I ultimately got hired by Fox 2 here in Detroit. But I just always felt like I loved this market, and this is where my home was, because I was raised here after I lived in Chicago, and my family was here, and then I got married and started having kids, and it just always, and I was on the road enough as it was as a working mom. So it really just was, it was a perfect fit for me here in Detroit. And I love kind of the big fish in the little pond, I guess, kind of thing. You know, I've really got like one city that I just hunker down in and get to know the players and the coaches and the teams. And I feel like that's really, it's benefited me well. And I've also really formulated some much stronger relationships and friendships, and I think credibility and respect through that as well for people who know me well, know me better than just someone who, you know, swoops in, covers a game, and is out of town again. It's really nice to be here all the time, and I love Detroit. I love the Midwest.
Yeah, well, you joined at, you know, around the right time. The Wings were obviously on their cup runs and all that kind of stuff in '97,
Oh my gosh,
'98, and that's when the
I've
Wings were
covered
good.
everything. Yeah, I covered a Michigan football national championship. I've covered Michigan State Final Fours. I've covered Michigan Final Fours. I've covered NBA championships with the Pistons. I've covered a couple of Lions playoff games. I've covered four Stanley Cups. You know, it's been great. We've been really lucky.
Couple of pennants for the Tigers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've been to 2 World Series. Yeah, I can't forget them.
06 and 12. Yeah. Those are, can't forget those. So now, like I said, you've been around for all those. You've been around for many different and great moments in Detroit history, Detroit sports history. Who was or who currently is your favorite personality to interview, or was it to interview in Detroit?
Gosh, there's, you know, I get asked that question a lot, and I feel like I usually have an answer right off the top of my head, but over time now, there's just been so many. I mean, Chauncey Billups was amazing. Darren McCarty's always been great. You know, those guys on those cup teams, but kind of the grinders. I'm a little bit, you know, as a woman in a male-oriented field, dominated field, it was and is, you know, we're still kind of trying to chip away at that. But I've always felt like a little bit of an underdog, and so I coincidentally tend to kind of root for the underdogs. And I loved that whole, you know, narrative about the Pistons when they won the championship in 2004, that they were really kind of, you know, the blue collar, the going to work, the lunch pail mentality. And that really fits me. So any player that's like that, Chris Spielman was always a blast to cover. Dominic Raiola was fun to cover.
Yes.
And I still really enjoyed, you know, just Brandon Inge was a nice guy. Max Scherzer was great. I don't know. That's just a few. There's too many people that I like. There are very few that I don't like. So
it depends. Well, maybe the Tigers will sign Scherzer. Who knows? Depends on what we do. So you've traveled all over the country for many different occasions, whether it be college or pro. What has been your favorite arena or stadium environment you've ever been in?
Wow, game 163 in the Metrodome. And I can't even remember what year that was. But Brandon, it was so loud. I think that, and it was so funny because typically indoor baseball isn't my thing. I love the whole experience of the grass, the smell of the grass, and, you know, the brats cooking and the crack of the bat. And I love everything about, you know, Wrigley Field and Comerica Park and Camden Yards. But that game, that environment was sensational. Also, the World Series. I really love playoff baseball. So, when we were in San Francisco in 12 for that series, that was pretty amazing. I will say Lambeau Field is second to none in professional sports venues. If anyone ever gets an opportunity to go there for a game, the fans are amazing, and it just has almost like a college feel. It's really cool. It gives you goosebumps. Gives me goosebumps at least.
Yeah, you're the second sportscaster that said that. Brad Galley from
Oh, did Brad say that? Well, and he's a Marquette boy too, so he's kind of got that in his blood.
He said,
Brad and I sit next to.
He goes, "That's my favorite one with no hands down, no question." I'm like,
that's it. That is it. But I mean, it also depends what the event, because sometimes an event can really raise the temperature of a venue. Arrowhead Stadium, I also like when people say, okay, we've already been to Lambeau, what's the second NFL stadium we should go to? Because a lot of fans go around the country and will go on road trips when the Lions go play different places. And I always say Arrowhead. It's a really cool, great atmosphere.
Yeah, it seems like it is. It's one of the loudest venues in North America. So it's.
You're not kidding. So is Seattle. So is Seattle. Like football just really, regular season football, I think, is as close as it comes for me. I love college football, but I prefer college basketball over college football. So NFL's number one, and probably college basketball and baseball number two.
So, all right. So now this is one of my favorite segments I've done with all my guests. It's rapid fire 7, just quick random questions. Doesn't even have to do with sports or anything like that, just to get to know you better. So your favorite place to eat downtown Detroit?
Well, I love Lafayette, Coney Island. I don't know if it's my favorite place to eat, but there's nothing else like it. Like every time it's delicious and amazing. So let's just go Lafayette.
Lafayette, Coney Island. All right. Your favorite vacation destination?
Naples, Florida.
Naples, Florida. All right. Your favorite sports movie?
Probably, I'd have to say The Pride of the Yankees.
Ooh, that's definitely a different answer. Okay.
That one just gets me. That one gets me every time.
If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Pizza? Or could it be like steak and broccoli? I would like steak. I mean, if I could have steak and a vegetable and a potato.
Steak and broccoli is valid
answer. Let's go steak and broccoli.
All right. What kind of steak?
I wouldn't live very long. I don't know. I like a bone-in ribeye, but a fillet is always good too.
Yes, I love fillets.
I'm a carnivore. I am.
Those are my favorite. Fillets are my go-to.
Yeah.
So out of the 4 teams in Detroit, out of the four pro teams in Detroit, which one would you like
Tigers.
to see win a championship first?
Oh, well, the Lions would like to see, because those fans deserve it, and they never have. But this is a football town. Detroit is a football town. I know people call it a baseball town, but I think the Tigers are going to be the next one to win.
Interesting. All right.
I really do.
Your favorite?
I really do. I think they're the closest.
Yeah. They've been doing a lot of rebuilding over the years.
Yeah, well, and it's ironic that they're the last one that's been to a championship game.
Yeah.
That's played for a championship, and they'll be the next one to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I thought the Lions would have made it to the Super Bowl within 5 years in 2015 under Jim Caldwell.
Oh.
But they blew that up.
Oh my gosh.
Players loved him. He was great.
The roster was
coach.
Great.
The roster was great. They were going to win 9-7. Sadly, how is that funny that wasn't good enough? Twice they blew it up when they were 9-7,
and look what's happened since then.
Let's just hope that they can get it turned around. I believe in Sheila Ford-Hamp. I believe in Dan Campbell, and I hope that they can get this thing turned around, because it's such a great sports town, and nothing like football Sunday.
Absolutely. And so with that, who's your favorite Detroit athlete of all time?
These favorite questions, these are too hard. Barry Sanders.
Yes, Barry.
It's got to be Barry, just to watch. Like, not actually conversationally speaking, because he's a man of few words.
Man of few words.
Boy, I love Calvin Johnson too, I got to tell you.
Megatron, the Hall of Famer, yes.
He's a great guy.
Yes,
He's a
he
great,
is.
great guy.
And
So,
finally, your favorite summer activity to do with your family in Michigan.
oh my gosh, go out on a boat, swim,
That
be on a boat, water, on the
classic,
water.
classic.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the end of that end of those rapid fire 7 questions. So now I got to know, how did you get the nickname the Hammer, and how did that come about, and when?
Eh, it was a friend of mine in Chicago, Stacy Curley, who I worked with at CLTV. And since my last, and I think, she would call me Hammered, you're hammered, Hammond, Hammer. And it just kind of became that iteration. And then in Detroit, when I started working at WDFN, Vanna Wright and Mike Stoney was asking me about what my nickname is. And I'm like, I had a friend in Chicago who called me Hammer, but it's not really a nickname. And that was it, and it stuck.
So now you work with some of the best in the business, Heel Perkins, Jay Towers,
I
and the
do.
voice of the Lions, Dan Miller.
Dan Miller, bar none.
How well have you gotten to know these people over the years, and how special of a bond is that?
It's amazing. Our sports department has been together, and in television alone, people don't usually stick around. It's a very transient type of profession. And we have been together in our sports office, Dan Miller, Woody Woodruff, myself, and our executive producer, Greg Canner. We have all been together since 1997. And it's unheard of, and it's wonderful. And we just actually celebrated a birthday of our friend Wojo, who does the morning show,
Yes.
the Lions pregame show with us. We celebrated his birthday last night, and Dan Miller was there. And it's a family. It really is. I love everyone that I work with, and it's great. My career has been so good to me, and I love it. I wouldn't trade any of it for the world. And I still love telling stories and, doing features. And also I'm going down to cover the Pistons tonight, and it's so exciting to watch the rise of Cade Cunningham and Dwayne Casey. By the way, he's a great guy, and he's really working his tail off to get this team turned around too. I mean, there's a lot of great people in Detroit that really care about the city. And I think I share that. And I like that kind of, that team building, and that whole, chip on our shoulder in Detroit, and the city's on the rise, and don't mess with us kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Pistons. You look at the Red Wings right now, that taking people by surprise so far.
Yeah.
So far, so good. Hopefully they can.
Hopefully everybody's on their way up.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Maybe the Lions is a little bit like it. The Lions may be a little bit too late at this point.
A little behind, but we knew that this year was going to be like this. I mean, they should have had a couple wins by now, but
yeah. Well, what are you going to do against 66 yarders?
Yeah, that one, I think that goes down in infamy, doesn't it?
What are you going to do?
Yeah, so now, there's no defending that.
So now, hypothetically, Jennifer, you're the GM of the Lions this year. You have the first overall pick, presuming this year in 2022. How would you rebuild this team?
Well, they can't just do it through the draft, and they can't just do it through free agency. They've got to do a combination of both. I think they are finding right now that they're seeing a lot of young talent that's getting playing time that they probably wouldn't have gotten otherwise if they weren't in the situation they're in. And I really am, optimistic, cautiously optimistic, I should say, just about some of the young guys that they've got on this roster. They want a quarterback, obviously, but they're, the jury's still out on whether or not that guy is in the draft in 2022. So they may have to do something else, they may have to trade, but my gosh, they're set up so well. They've got so many picks. Defense, obviously.
Trade.
Yeah, they did. They did well.
They did well.
A lot of people don't fully understand that was the whole point. It wasn't that we wanted Jared Goff. It's that we had to take him to get all those picks and to get rid of Stafford's contract. And Stafford didn't want to be here. So, it's just, it'll be okay. I really think by, if we don't start to see some improvement by mid-22, then there will be some rumblings. But, Dan Campbell's got a 6-year contract, so they're in the long haul with him for this.
Absolutely. But he's a great personality since the day he came in.
He sure is.
The team definitely needed that, especially for, previous head coaches that we had.
Oh, yeah.
Caldwell was great and all that kind of stuff, but other coaches didn't seem like they had the personalities.
Yeah.
But Dan Campbell, whew,
By all accounts, the guys love him too.
that's good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear for years coming. So now I'm getting the idea of what's working like behind the scenes for like, TV shows and stuff like that up here at Central. When it comes to the quote unquote major leagues like Fox 2, take me through what happens behind the scenes for a typical workday for you, like, like right now.
Oh, well, part of the thing that I love the most about my job is that every day is a little bit different. I'm covering every team. Yesterday, my days off have been Wednesday and Thursday for the last 20 years. I will go to the Pistons right now. The coach speaks at 5:15. So we will sit down and listen to and record Dwayne Casey in his pregame press conference. I have an idea of what I'm going to cover, tonight with them playing Golden State, which is, the hottest team right now in the NBA. But Steph's not playing, and I don't think Draymond is in either. So it's going to be a different Golden State team. But, part of the storyline tonight is that Cade Cunningham is starting to kind of evolve and separate himself and show us a little bit.
Yeah, plus you got Jordan Poole. You got a Michigan man.
Right?
You got the Michigan man. So now, switching from maize and blue to green and white, do you think Michigan State has a shot to get in the playoff? Or Kenneth Walker III wins the Heisman?
Oh, I think the odds are better for him to win the Heisman. But sometimes one is dependent on the other. But I really think that kid is amazing. I mean, anybody who has seen him, he's incredible.
Absolutely
incredible.
Two of the best running backs in the country are from the state of Michigan, and Kenneth Walker and Lou Nichols.
Yeah. So he has a good shot at that. I just don't see Michigan State beating Ohio State on their turf. If they had that game at home, I would consider that would be possible. Yeah. I think the odds are better that Michigan beats Ohio State because they have them at home. I mean, it's just the way it falls. Columbus is a really tough place to play, and man, that's a great stadium. It's a great venue. I hate the Buckeyes as a Michigan girl. I hate the Buckeyes, but it is a really amazing place to see a game and to be on a college football Saturday, especially in a rivalry game. I've been there when Michigan has played there, and it's a really amazing scene.
I can imagine, because that's going to
be
when they get going, that stadium is rocking, whether we like them or not.
Tough one. That's going to be a tough one tomorrow, though, for the Spartans.
Absolutely. Probably not so much for Michigan. They got Maryland, but you never know.
They got to be careful. Just like when Michigan State went to Purdue, I saw that trouble.
I did too.
Coming.
Yeah, trap.
Yeah, they got to be careful.
And so having a career like this comes with making sacrifices. And so has been traveling and being away from your family, has it been a struggle to juggle all of it?
Yeah, sometimes, but I don't travel as much as most people. Like, I'm not on the go as much as, say, a baseball beat writer or an NBA beat writer. I just travel during certain seasons. So I only travel to 8 or 9 this year, 9 road games for the Lions during football season. I will travel for spring training in February, and then I always go on the road for the NCAA tournament with either Michigan or Michigan State. So it's really not that much. It's just enough travel to keep it interesting and really have fun.
Yeah.
And then other than that, it's not been that hard. I mean, working nights and weekends was tough and was a sacrifice, but I think that it was really nice also to have Mondays and Tuesdays off when my kids were in school, and I could go to their Wednesdays and Thursdays off, and I could go to their school and do things in their classroom and stuff like that, and be home with them. Yeah. So, everything's a trade-off in life.
Absolutely.
It's just all how you react to it.
Now I can see in the background, I can tell you're getting close to LCAs. So, because I've been down there quite enough. So I got 2 quick questions for you, then I'll wrap this up so you can head to your interview with Coach Casey. right next door, the Tigers made good strides this year. Couple of key free agent signings so far, pretty good. It's looking good. Do you think they have a shot to win the AL Central this year?
There are still so many more moves that need to be made before I can say that. AJ Hinch had a little brunch turned lunch with Carlos Correa. If
That's
somehow
huge.
they land Correa, that's going to be big. I think that their pitching staff is going to be in really good shape. Boy, to win their division, the White Sox still are. I mean, that team's going to be tough to beat, but we'll see. They'll certainly be able to challenge for a wild card. I think they'll be able to challenge, if not 22, for sure in 23.
Absolutely. And now you mentioned,
I don't think they're that far away.
Yeah, you mentioned pitching, and do you know if they're going to add a DH to the National League on the other side, or if they're going to get rid of that whole controversy?
Well, there's talk about it. I'm not on the ground floor of those types of things. I wasn't, I don't go to the general managers meetings. I'm not even sure what came out of it on that front. I like the DH, but I've been in an American League city for the better part of my life, so I appreciate that. But I think it's fun. I mean, to watch, the way they have to. It's definitely more work for the managers, to pull the switch and do what they need to do for the National League. That's fun. I mean,
absolutely, yeah. It's definitely
there's been a lot of talk about changing it. We'll see.
Absolutely. And so, yeah. And with that, I know you got to run to talk to Coach Casey for tonight's tip-off between the Pistons and Golden State. That should be a fun one. That should be an absolute fun one. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming on. It's so great to see you again. And it's so great to actually be in the same grade as your son up here at school and have classes with him and hanging out with his friends and all that kind of stuff.
I love that.
We've been forming a great bond and all that kind of stuff. So, once I found that out, I'm like, no, I told your son, I'm like, no kidding. I worked with your mom when I was 15. I started when I was 15 with Golden Tate and Novi.
That's great.
I was starstruck when I met you for the first time. As a 15-year-old, I wasn't planning to go into the field, and it ended up happening this year. And so, now having you on my show, it's come full circle, and I really appreciate that.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for reaching out. I appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. Hopefully when I
have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Yeah. And if anybody wants to check out our pregame show, 10 a.m. on Fox 2 in Detroit, and we'll be on Thanksgiving Day if anybody's home and in the area. And also on fox2detroit.com, you can watch any of our sports shows as well. So we're always around.
Absolutely. The Bears are in town on Thanksgiving as always.
Yes.
So
I think the Lions will win that one.
Yeah,
I really do.
I don't know. That might be the best chance they have the rest of the season.
They got a good chance.
That might be the best shot they have. So thank you so
Fingers
much.
Crossed.
Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. I really appreciate it. Have a fantastic night at LCA.
Thanks, Aron. Have a great weekend. I will.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. You as well.
Bye-bye.
Man, what a fantastic interview. So if you didn't catch it at the beginning, we had a little technical difficulty at the beginning. I worked with Jennifer Hammond out in Novi when Golden Tate was a member of the Lions all the way back to 2015. If you imagine that, when this show, just before the show got started, a year before it got started, I worked with her for 4 years. I covered Golden Tate's event for 4 years, and it was awesome to get to know her through those events as well, along with me being in the classes with her son and me and her son Riley. Shout out to you, Riley, and his friend Paige that I work with at New Central 34. She's a reporter. I'm a sports anchor for that. So getting that bond and bond with them and having it come full circle has really been special. So having her on it completes the circle. So, and with that concludes episode 11 of season 7, the final season, the goodbye season of the Hot Seat Sports Talk. Tune in Monday. It's going to be a really good one. Presley Hudson, the all-time leader, probably the best basketball player ever to play for Central Michigan University for the women's side, or even the men's side, even both probably, is joining this show. She won the 3-point championship, 3-point contest championship all the way back in 2019. She's been to the NCAA tournament Sweet 16. Her number is going to be retired this Saturday at 1 o'clock for the 1 o'clock game against Michigan in Mount Pleasant. So we're gonna have a lot to talk about. It's gonna be a great show. Before we lead up to number 50, I won't reveal who that is until the end of Presley Hudson's interview for guest number 49. So that will do it for this show. Make sure you tune in Monday. I'm your host, Aron, and as always, keep it fresh.